Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are located. Speaking of, please feel free to drop in the chat your location. We would love to know where you are joining from. My name is Andra Pentalechuk. I am the community lead for the Microsoft Partner Community. I'm based in Bucharest, Romania. And I want to welcome you to a new Ask Me Anything webinar. And today's topic is maximize your opportunities with Microsoft Business Applications. Our speakers today are Cindy Park, Business Strategy Manager focused on Cloud Solution Provider, Program Marketing, and Alexandre Pombo, Sales Lead Business Applications at Microsoft. Just a quick few reminders. This call will take around 30 minutes. It is recorded, so the recording will be posted on the Microsoft Partner Community. We will drop the links in the chat for your convenience to check the on-demand recording if you cannot stay until the end. So any other questions you may have, just feel free to drop them in the chat and our moderators will respond. So with that, let's welcome Alexandre, and Alexandre, you can take it away.
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear me okay. So first of all, thank you so much for making the time to join us today. My name is Alex Pombo. I am the solution area lead for business applications worldwide, part of the SMB team. Super excited to be here to talk to you guys about this great opportunities that we have around business applications. As you know, this is a market related to ERP and CRM solutions and also Power Apps. Why not, right? So it's a new category of solutions that we're bringing in. So the agenda that we have today is to talk about the new reality, especially after the pandemic year. There are some important changes in habits of people, and I'm going to discuss what are the challenges and opportunities that we have there, especially related to digital transformation and how customers are seeing this, and what is the opportunity that we have for you guys as much as for Microsoft with regards to business applications and how we are going to be able to help the customers on this. And obviously, I want to talk to you guys also about what are the opportunities that we have in order to partner with especially our indirect providers in order to drive those kind of solutions to our customers. So let me dive into it, right? So we can talk about it. So there are some stats here and some interesting numbers that we see that are really were brought to the reality in the past year, I would say, at this point in time, a little bit over than that, especially in US and other places. We see an important shift for people going to remote work. Right, so there was a completely change on the habits of people working digitally. I can even speak for myself. I used to go to work quite often and eventually work from home. I'm pretty sure this is reality for everybody, and I had to adjust and adapt myself to that. And this really changed the habit and how people see solutions, right? So the way that we interact in meetings, the way that we interact with our suppliers, the way that we interact with our customers. And this is all reflected in the new culture that we have currently happened. And we see that the amount of people that are now working remote as well, business that were even more efficient because of COVID, right? So, and there was obviously a challenge to everybody. There's a lot of changes the way that people used to work remote and the way that also the companies responded to that. So interesting numbers that show that people they will need to look for efficiencies and given the challenges that we have, that we always say that whenever there is a big challenge, there is a good opportunity, and people always try to find a way to that. And that's what you observed in this case as well. Obviously, the magnitude and the scale that of the change was impressive. And this is really relating to what we call this new digital age, right? So, and with regards to that, you see important changes on how people and processes really completely change in the past year or so. We're talking about people moving from offices to digital spaces, working from home or anywhere in the world in a more comfortable way. Business travel completely changed as well, even the way that people interact with their customers. Conferences, events, how many of them, I saw this from, personal side, from professional side, that came from coming and going physically, traveling, staying in a hotel, to now going and offering always a digital view of that as well. But when we take a look at processes, we also see changes on the way that people do accounting. More and more people are doing digital finance and being comfortable with that change. And the other one that it was very typical, and I saw this in happening as well, is related to even how doctor appointments happen. In the past, we used to go to the doctor many times. Now we consult with the doctor depending on the complexity of the issue or the gravity of the issue, and we talk to the doctor, and and he or she provides the diagnosis and the way to go around the problem, or even prescribing a receipt. To solve this remotely, right? So it's a different way than necessarily a physical content, given the restrictions that everybody were living in. Take a look at this data. To me, this is quite impressive. We see this completely swing between, traveling and that were booked with people using Teams, right? So you see almost a mirror of the decline versus the acceleration of the use digital. I think this is a very compelling data point to prove few of the statements that we did before. Now, if you take a look at our stack and how we have Microsoft, and we need to start thinking in a more holistic way to what we call the Microsoft Cloud. And Microsoft Cloud has several components, and those components, or building blocks, if you will, they are very relevant to the discussion that we just have. Obviously, you guys know we have our productivity suite with Microsoft 365. Alongside with that, we acquired a few years back LinkedIn, and helped us to have access and contact to a lot of professionals through that networking website. And also, aside to that, we also have the Microsoft Dynamics 365, which is a portfolio today of about 40 or so SKUs or products or solutions, right? That goes from finance to supply chain, that goes from talent management to how you relate to your customers in sales, in marketing, customer insights. So it's actually a very extensive portfolio of solutions. And on top of that, we also have products that we're going to talk a little bit to you that are meant and created specifically for small and medium businesses, particularly in the medium business subsegment of SMB. And we see them with a tremendous traction in the market today. Obviously, there are other acquisitions like at Hub. We created from scratch Microsoft Power Platform that encompasses Power Apps, Power Automate, and also Power BI. So it's a very comprehensive portfolio as well. And all of this super important when you're talking about somebody working remote, either in a simple meeting up to how we run business processes in the cloud. All of this has a foundation of security, of management, to make certain things are compliant. You guys saw in the beginning of the pandemic certain incidents that happened with few of our competitors related to that kind of issue on security. Microsoft was very well protected to that, given the way that the platform works. So, and all of this, all the portfolio that we talk about of Microsoft 365 and Dynamics as well, and all the others, they sit under that foundation. It's a common foundation, which is very unique. And I really want to convey to you that this is actually it's a good differentiation that we have comparing to the competition, which sometimes can work in different parts and pieces, and they don't have an underlying foundation. They don't have even a common data platform that these applications can work together in tandem. They just don't happen this way because most of those competitors work through acquisitions. And what Microsoft did, it was really to build this foundation that is very consistent. And if you take a look at, as I was mentioned to you, this very extensive portfolio, everything that we do in this portfolio is to really break the silos related to data and to the insights and intelligence that somebody has. And this comes out of this Microsoft Business application, um, and our cloud solution that has all these components. And again, the beauty of this is that all these components, they talk to each other. And you don't need to buy, necessarily everything. You need to buy depending on your needs. You're going to buy commerce. Eventually, you're going to buy supply chain and project operations and field services. But eventually, you run a ERP from a competitor, and that's fine. So we have full integration with most of these platforms as well. And all of this sits under this Power Platform that helps you to gather insights, helps you to create rapid applications with Power Apps, or run a remote solution with Power Automate. And so all of this is the main point here is to really break those data silos, which happens quite often with our customers. And the moment that we show this integration, it shows a good ability for us to accelerate the adoption of the products as well, and obviously for you to sell the Microsoft solution. If you go specifically to the SMB portfolio, I would call out basically those three products, right? So we have Dynamics 365 for Sales, which is essentially a customer relationship management platform that allows customers to run from marketing, run digital campaigns, and also understand what happens with the customers, and be able to facilitate, whenever there is this contact with a customer, insights that that your sellers, the customer sellers, can really work and be more productive and be more efficient in front of a customer. Again, if you think about it, what we just mentioned before, and people working remotely, it's absolutely logical that the sales happen also using this kind of solution. The other one is a product that has experienced a tremendous growth, particularly this year, right? Which is we are in the third year of this product, and we almost double the amount of customers that we have initially. So we've been doubling almost every single year since inception. And there are players in the market that are there for over 20, 25 years that don't have the amount of customers that we have today running in Business Central. Business Central is an all-in-one ERP product, basically managing from financials to accounting, supply chain, even a small component of CRM as well, not as much as sales. And by the way, they integrate very well together. You can sell both, and your customers are going to enjoy, given this common data platform that we have, a very easy experience with regards to both the front end and the back end. Business Central doing the back end and the whole infrastructure behind a business that we have. And again, all these products, they were created from scratch with a cloud-first thinking. And those are SaaS applications, SaaS-based applications that use the many years of experience that we have across all the platforms that we have on the legacy products like Navision, like Great Plains, like Salmon. So super important thing. Another important, and the last one is Power Apps, which is a very, very good way for customers to enjoy a creation of applications that are rapidly developed specifically to them, right? So with if you want to develop a custom app, it's a good way for you to go and do that. You have the two package apps with Sales and Business Central, and then you have the Power Platform component with Power Apps. Well, what's the need for you, right? So if you think about it, what is the top of mind of SMBs? This has come out of a lot of research. So, it's basically how we can work remotely better. And this is not only about people accessing or doing conferences, it's really, business processes in the cloud. And doing this in a secure way, and doing this, obviously, reducing costs. Nobody's going to go in a transformation journey without thinking about cost reduction, right? So these are in the top of mind of our SMBs. And what is the need for you is really how we can, if you are a Microsoft 365 reseller, how can you really differentiate your business? Do you want your customer to go and have a conversation when they're looking for to re-platform their ERP or their back end or their CRM, their front end with another vendor, or do you want to have the ability to have this conversation and helping them in terms of digital transformation? This brings a lot of stickiness to the whole conversation, right? Because you're going to be in fact, the real one-stop shop for them for any IT solution. I think this is good for everybody, and it's going to make not only your revenue growth, but also Microsoft revenue growth. So we are on this absolutely together. That's the main point of the partnership. And take a look at the opportunities that we have in front of us. This is a very fragmented market, given the number of players, given the level of localization that is needed, particularly in the ERP side. So Microsoft today has only 2% penetration, and you have a lot of players that have similar kind of market share. To me, this is just opportunity, right? So, and we have good aspirations to massively grow this in the next couple years, I would say. I'm talking about massive growth. And we already experienced some good growth, but not to the extent that we want. We want to go to triple digits growth. That's our aspiration, and we are counting on you to help us to get there. We see also for you an important increase in revenue the moment that we start selling Dynamics to your Office customers. And I'm going to show some data points that to me sound very interesting as well. And also this impacts the growth of Azure in case you are an Azure reseller. And why this is important, so or the reason for that to happen is when somebody's moving their processes to the cloud, guess what comes just after that? Their data is going to go to the cloud as well. So we see and observe in our analysis that we can double the amount of Azure revenue if we start playing that card of digital transformation via business processes. Let's take, for example, this customer example. Imagine that you have, a portfolio of, a customer of 200 users, right? So if you add, let's say, only 10% is not a whole lot, right? And with this mix of licensing of the premium Business Central with the Teams, which is the most simple one, and you can get not only channel incentives and also a margin, a very healthy margin that we're having in the sales of BizApp solutions that you give, very easy $30,000 a year. And we're talking here only about 10% in this small base of 200 users. I think this sounds at least something that we should start thinking about and pay attention. But there are some more compelling data coming in, right? And take a look at the opportunity. We took a look at today of our overall installed base of Office 365 that are actively using the product, and we see about 400,000 customers of that. And considering the average and running some models, we have the number of users associated to this number of customers, this 400,000, and this can give easily to us a $2.5 billion in revenue total addressable market, considering this Office 365. So, one thing that we're pushing super hard for Business Central and Sales Pro growth is to grow on top of that installed base as opposed to see the overall market, because the overall market in SMB, you have all sorts of combinations, all sorts of customers coming in, and some of them are using very rudimentary tools or even sometimes only Excel to control their business. That's going to be a hard one. But the easy one, the low-hanging fruit, are the Office 365. Why? They are already in the cloud. They don't want to come to you with security objections. They don't want to come to you with something, this is too complicated. They already have a cloud-first kind of mentality. So you should capitalize on that as well. So what is our way to do that? The notion of having somebody who is running a office business, a modern work conversation, to go and say, okay, we are going to start discussing business processes and so on and so forth. And this transformation, it's hard, right? So we created a model via our indirect CSPs that I'm going to explain in a little bit that helps us, and everybody wins with that, right? So our indirect, obviously, they have the ability to help with marketing, with sales. You obviously continue to have the relationship with the customer, and the license will be transacted through you. And but we are going to have partners, we provide partners via those indirect CSPs that help with the deployment. Again, everybody wins on that. And obviously, they charge for the services on this one. And that's pretty much the chain of events that happen, right? So you hold the relationship with your customers. You're going to license the CRM. You're going to license the ERP. You continue to be the trusted advisor. You are in front of your customers. The indirect provider is going to come and bring experts in Dynamics 365 and going to transact in a P2P model through you to your customer. Again, this helps you to have more stickiness to your relationship, improve your margins, and everything that we mentioned before with those bundled offers. Now, and this is a very interesting projection to me. We took a look at this a little bit in a longer term. And if a office reseller is doing this in a very accelerated pace, I should say a modern work reseller, accelerated pace, you'll be able, if you add five customers, and a respective amount of users of 6 full users plus the team's users as well. And you can take a look at in this link here, the projection, depending on your case. We can see in 4 years, your top line revenue will be impacted in a positive way to excess of $1.5 million. I think this sounds extremely attractive. And when I look at this number and say, wow, this is so much, I run the numbers in this tool, and it's really there. So do the math. Take some time to do some projections based on the number of customers that you have. You're probably going to take a look at that and enjoy as well. I'm going to wrap up very quickly. This is all office modern work resellers that worked with this NAB solution, which is the Dynamics expert that transacts through our indirect CSPs. But one case that comes to my attention here is Zelly, and I'm familiar with this one very closely. And they really say this, right? And I'll call that out. Is that was the ability for them to really help on the digital transformation that the customer was trying to do. You want to be in this position, right? That's the pivotal moment, that an inflection point where those customers will making this, and you want to be part of this journey. How you do that? Basically in contact with our indirect CSPs, our indirect providers or distributors. All of them today have BizApps practices. We've been working in this for the past couple of years. They develop marketing technical expertise in their practice, really in order to help you in this P2P transaction. Again, just to wrap up, you're able to transact to your customer. You don't need to worry and become an expert on BizApps. Our distributors can help you with that because they are going to bring the Dynamics experts to transact in a white label fashion through you. So you're still in command. With that, we have a few minutes for questions if that's the case.
Thank you so much, Alexandre. And I do see several questions on the chat box. So let me start with the first one. And first question is Business Central. A few years back, Microsoft recommended a starting point for Business Central to be a company with 3 people in accounting department and at least 1 CPA. Is it still the case?
No, I think if I understood the question correctly, there's not necessarily a limit up and down, right? So what we see as a sweet spot is when we are talking about what we call medium business. Medium business, in our definition, is companies with 25 employees up to 300 employees. That's the sweet spot for Business Central. If you go beyond that, probably you're looking for Dynamics Financials as the solution for that. If you're below that, usually the companies are only looking for accounting product. That's not a market that Business Central will compete very well because it's not even fair. Business Central is a much more complete solution. It's not complex, complete solution. So it's important to understand the sweet spot is there. And when you take a look at 25 and above, usually the amount of people that we have in the financial accounting is about 3 or 4 people out of this 25 and above. So that's probably where this number comes from. But in fact, we see Business Central going up and down. To be honest with you, even in some hub spoke situations where you have the headquarters running, let's say, financials or Oracle or SAP, happens. In the spokes, let's say in an office or department, sometimes they run Business Central. This happens even in enterprise. So Business Central is a great solution for this size of business.
Great. Next question is related to same Business Central, specifically for the data store. And the question is, it says integrated with Dynamics 365, but it looks like the data stores are completely different in reporting in Business Central, unlike Dynamics 365 sales. Is in its own data store, so we have to sync in the data back to the Dataverse in order to have flexibility in reporting.
No,
Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I understand the question. The question is, does Business Central, if I interpreted correctly, integrates well with Dynamics 365? The answer is yes. In fact, we have a white paper that explains this a little bit more in detail. If you go to MPN, you can find those details. And again, all the Dynamics products, they work in the common data, the same common data framework. So it's the same one that has across them that facilitates this kind of integration between the two. When you take a look at 2 years ago, when Business Central was, we were launching Business Central about 3 years ago in April 2nd. So this was a little bit wonky. Now it works pretty well, as far as I know, coming from our engineering teams. But if you find any trouble, let us know. Talk to your indirect providers. They do have technical expertise as well to help you if that's the case. Anything else, Cindy?
Not yet. While we are waiting on other questions, and my question is then how, what would be the best resources that partners can leverage to get started? I think you have the resources slide, so it would be great that while we are waiting on other questions, if you can share those how to get started and the best resources.
I think I would say the main resource that we have is actually in Microsoft Partner Network. There is a SMB dedicated page created there for partners that transact in the small and medium business. And in that page, I wish I had brought that screenshot here so you guys could see. There is a chapter for each of them, right? So there's a tile for Business Central, there's a tile for Dynamics 365 Sales, there's one for Power Apps. And if you click those, you have campaigns, you have technical content like the white paper that I just mentioned. So all in all, I mean, I will refer to that as the one single point of a place for you to go and have all the information that you need in your MPN webpage.
Perfect. Yeah. So another comment on the chat box is about if you can send the white paper, it would be very helpful. But your answer is that everything can be found on the MPN page.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. If you have difficulties, I don't know exactly how to contact people, but I can send to you, Cindy, and you can distribute to them.
Yeah, so maybe it was recent because the comment said that we didn't see that maybe 6 months ago and was still requiring sync. So I believe that that's recent, right? The resource was posted recently.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Again, I want to be clear. I was not talking about syncing. I was talking about the ability of the data to flow between the two products. If there's a different question, we probably need to understand this a little bit better. I know we are at time, Cindy. Anything else I can help with?
I think that's pretty much it. And I think I saw the chat box that we did search and didn't find. So we will just search through.
Let's follow up on that.
Follow up and then post on this webinar page so that people can easily find out the resources.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for Alexandra for the great presentation. And so, Andra, are you going to wrap up this session?
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Cindy, for being in this webinar and presenting this super useful information for partners. We will definitely post the on-demand recording and any other resources that you may have on the Microsoft Partner Community. The links are in the chat for you to access them along with the recording. So with that, we will conclude the session, and I wish you a wonderful rest of the day or evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.